Hey guys, how's it going? It's Danconia and welcome back to Overwatch. So, this is going to be a bit of a whistle-stop tour of the week of Overwatch, not including Friday because this is recorded on a Thursday night, so sorry, but hey, let's start off on the forums, shall we? Now, old Scott Mercer has been on the forums explaining a load of the stuff for the LFG system, which is now very close to hitting the live servers. Obviously, LFG looking for group, the complete rework of basically how matches are made, the encouragement to get into groups, the role, I don't want to say role select, but the role enforcement involved in that LFG if you want it. Symmetra in that new update and all sorts. Patch 1.25, which is going to go live pretty soon. Now, there have been some expressed concerns with the way groups work and the way the SR is gained and lost, depending on whether you're in a group or not. And Scott Mercer has come out and confirmed that SR is not affected by a group, right? So the Overwatch matchmaking system aims to put the same teams together. So if you're 6 solo stacks, you're going to go against 6 solo stacks. Unless they can't find a 6 solo stack to put you against, then you might go against a 4 and a 2. Say 4 solos and then a 2 stack. The same as it aims to put a 6 stack against a 6 stack, and that's why 6 stack queues are a heck of a long time. That's hopefully going to change. There'll be less time for a 6 stack queue when the LFG system comes in, because obviously there'll be a lot more 6 stacks to work with. Now, in terms of SR, the rate of gaining and losing SR does not depend on whether you're in a group. So you don't gain more SR if you're in a group because, I don't know, you've been together and you've been working as a team, and there's been this reflection that some teams get an unfair advantage if they've been working together for a while, as in a group. The thing is, you can kind of beat off that argument by saying, well, if they're a good 6 stack, they'll be where they should be. And they'll stop. You see what I mean? They'll reach their pinnacle of what they can do now, and then they'll start that like win-loss, 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 where they'll stay where they are in the SR system, whether that be Diamond, Platinum, Grandmaster, Top 500, Bronze, wherever that be, they would stop there. And they wouldn't purposely get extra SR or and have an unfair advantage over people who don't 6 stack because they 6 stack and they have that sort of communication and synergy. It's kind of like it's kind of like a non-argument, if so what I mean. If you're a good 6 stack, you're going to climb the ladder, but you're eventually going to come across a team which is better than you and you're going to lose, and then you'll start losing games and you'll reach where you should be, is what I'm saying. Now, how is SR calculated? Gained or lost? How do they calculate the amount of SR you get? Now, they predict a win chance for you. They say, if your predicted win chance was less than 50% and you win the game, you get more SR. If your predicted chance was greater than 50%, of winning, then you will gain less SR, and you will lose more if you lose. See? Obviously, new accounts and accounts that have been inactive, they have larger changes because of adjustments. Say you haven't played for a long time, you're quite rusty, you're going to lose a lot of SR to start off with while you get back into the game, but that should work itself out. And new accounts, obviously, you get that big like 60 SR, 70 SR movement at the start to try and get you where you should be, because sometimes there is a lot of people being placed at a higher ranking than they perhaps should be at the start, and then this should quickly adjust them to where they should be. Now, obviously, Platinum tier and below, you get this performance rating, where if you do really well in a match on your own, even if you lose, you will be compensated for that with a bit of an SR modification. If you do really badly, obviously, with the vice versa thing, you're going to lose more SR if you lose and you play badly. you're going to lose less SR if you lose and play very well, which is obviously quite good, but I would still like that straight, you know, you win, you get 25 SR, you lose, you get 25, you lose 25 SR, or 2020, or whatever it is, up above Platinum. Now, obviously, as your SR gets higher, you will gain less SR as you approach your limit and approach the systemic limit, is what I'm trying to say. The limit in Overwatch obviously is 5,000. You will never get above 5,000 SR because that is the limit of competitive Overwatch. And if you ever watch streams like Defran or people like that, if you get near 4,700, then you start really gaining puny amounts of SR. Because otherwise, if you still gained that ridiculous amount of SR, then someone would have hit 5k by now. So that's how no one's ever hit 5k, because when you start to reach the limit, you gain so little. So little. I've seen Defran like not get above 10 SR for a win. So that's how it works. A few statistics: only 16% of all games purely consisted of solo players. The most common match composition is 2-1-1-1-1, as in a 2-stack and in 4 solos, which represents 28% of all matches. If you're in a full team of solo players, 73% of those matches were against other teams of solo players, and the other 24% were against 2-1-1-1-1 team composition. Only 3% of the enemy teams were groups of 3 or more players. If you're in a duo, 74% of your matches were against 2-1-1-1-1 teams. 14% were against 6 solos, 8% against a 3-stack and 3 solos. Only 4% of the enemy teams you faced had groups of 4 players or more. If you're a full 6-stack player group, 92% of your matches were against a combination of other 6-player groups: 5 stacks and 1, 4 stacks and 2, 3 stacks and 3, 3 stacks and 3 stacks, 2 stacks, 2 stacks, 2 stacks. So you're always going, if you're a 6-stack, you're always going up against stacks. You're never going up against solos unless you do get that 5-stack and 1 solo, which, believe me, I've got before, and to be quite honest, not that keen on. But that covers that little post. There is also another post. There is obviously going to be a new PTR patch fairly soon. Now, patch 1.25, which is the LFG, looking for group, it's the endorsement system, it's Symmetra 3.0, it's a few other changes, but it also contains some Samba bug fixes that will go live probably in the next week or so. And then we're looking at another patch. This patch apparently is going to have some major changes for Sombra. Sombra had some changes back along, reducing the spread of a weapon, reducing her hack time to try and make her more viable, but then also taking away the fact that you can get ult charge from health packs, which kind of took away that whole mechanic of people using health packs that are hacked to charge Sombra's EMP, which is an incredibly powerful ultimate, and most of the time fight winning, because it reduces, you just can't use any abilities if you do it. Now, don't know what these Sombra changes could be about, but Sombra fits into the category of a flanker, an annoying person in the back line, i.e. like your Tracer, your Genji, I suppose you can call Doomfist, but Doomfist is a bit more in flux than that because he isn't as viable to play in the back. I mean, he goes in the back line and assassinates people, but Tracer can then get out pretty quickly, whereas Doomfist is more direct, whereas Tracer can flank. Doomfist will just launch himself over people, because I love the way Doomfist plays. Anyway, Sombra fits into that category, but she's not exactly the best choice in that category. If you're going to play Sombra, you are playing Sombra simply because you want the EMP or the hack. Sombra does not put out enough damage to match a Tracer, for example. So you'd rather, if you just going on pure damage output, you would want the Tracer. So I would assume that Sombra's going to have some sort of buff to her damage output, but they're going to have to be very careful with it, obviously, because you don't want to make a hero OP now, do you, devs? Not to mention Hanzo. Now, let's get on to the meat of this video. Hero 28 is not very far away. We have had this teaser to show us the backstreets of somewhere. We don't know where, although it's very anti-omnic, so it could be London, it also could be Australia, but there's a lot of Australia which is actually not doing too well due to radiation. But we do looks like we have the Junker Queen in there as well. But in the middle we do have a little chimp. Could this be Hammond? It's gotta be, right? Unless they're like throwing us a curveball. I don't trust the Overwatch devs. They could throw us a curveball like, yeah, here's a really obvious chimp in the middle of this teaser. Actually, we're going to give you the Junker Queen, who's right on the right of the picture. But you're not looking at that, you're looking at the chimp, obviously. But yeah, this looks like Hammond. And it's going to be interesting to see how he's implemented. The interesting thing is, the note that goes with it, calm before the storm. Now what could that mean? Because that's very weird. That's very interesting. Could Hammond be a fellow scientist, you maybe, who has some sort of effect, weather effects or something? Imagine if he was... And now I'm going crazy here. But imagine if he could do some sort of area denial, where he would... His ultimate, say... I had this idea with Torb would work, actually. It would be rain, but it'd be like perhaps like acid rain, and it would do slow damage over time. Now I was thinking of doing this with Torb, but instead of it being like a fire, where it would do slow damage to people over time, it would be this sort of area denial sort of asset or ultimate. Could Hammond have this? Calm before the storm. There's going to be something in that. We don't know yet, but be sure there are going to be some teasers coming out very soon. There probably already has been. I'm obviously looking at this Thursday, and as I am looking at it, this teaser came out 4 hours ago. There's probably another teaser by now. If there is, I'm sorry, I am just not up with it. But keep an eye on my Twitter, I'll probably be talking about it. But Hero 28, I think could be a make or break hero for Overwatch. Now why do I think that? The reason being is the LFG are looking for groups, the endorsement systems. That's game changing, right? That's like Overwatch 2.0 right there. Stuff we've wanted for a very long time. But you've got to bring people back to check out these systems. If you want to bring back some gamers, right? Now, let me be clear on this. There are some people that have got bored of Overwatch. They're not really interested in the game anymore, and they've moved on, most likely to Fortnite. But there are some people that dropped Overwatch because they couldn't play who they wanted to play. The toxicity in competitive, the fact that competitive wasn't interesting anymore. But LFG could sort some of these problems out. But these people have to come back and look at this LFG. Now some of them will keep up with Overwatch and they'll look at this system being implemented and they'll think, well, maybe I'll come back and play it. But not all of them are going to do that. But what could bring them back is a big hero. Imagine if Hero 28, if it is Hammond, imagine he's really interesting to play. And I'm not talking Brigitte. Brigitte was... I don't want to say this, but Brigitte was purely brought in to counter a meta. Dive. And it's worked. Let's be honest, it's worked. Don't see as much dive, we're seeing a lot more Reinhardt, Zarya. Goodness me, Hanzo, since his buff or his rework, both buff and rework, to be honest. But she wasn't... Yeah, she brought some people back and they thought, well, this is interesting, you can bash people with a shield, you can flip a mace around, boring, walked off again. But imagine if this hero is really, really interesting to play. And inserts a bit of fun into Overwatch once more. It could bring people back. And then, yeah, they're playing this new hero, Hero 28, but they're also playing the LFG system. And they're thinking, hey, I can create a group. I can go into this playing what I want to play. I don't have to flex. I can play what I want to play. If I want a DPS, I can go in a looking for group system, and I can say I'm looking for a group and I want to play DPS. Can you get me some tanks and some supports? So I'm not rolling the dice going into competitive and saying, hey, am I going to get a team? Am I going to have to play a role that I'm not necessarily good at just because the team won't play it? You're removing that element of guesswork, luck, and therefore you're removing an element of toxicity. And hopefully, and I pray for this, because Overwatch is a brilliant game, and I've seen so many people say, damn, I love this game, but I just can't play it anymore. And that just gives you that sinking feeling, right? I love this game, but I can't play it anymore. It's not nice to play anymore. It's not enjoyable. And boy, Overwatch can be enjoyable. And if you can make it enjoyable again, devs, I'm talking to you. If Hero 28 makes it enjoyable, LFG makes it more enjoyable, undoubtedly, then I seriously think Overwatch could gain a bit more popularity than it has now. You're looking at Twitch and Overwatch is like 15th on the board sometimes, when it used to be top 5. Top before Fortnite came along. So the next, and I said this a few videos ago, the next month to 2 months is crucial for Overwatch. Hero 28 has got to be a headline grabber, I think. It's got to be fun. It's got to be interesting. It's got to be new. It's going to be a different dynamic. And it's not that far away. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new. And I will see you in the next video. See you then.